Hey everyone, welcome to Lauren.live, the spirituality, health, and lifestyle podcast. I've got Neo Positivity with me today. What's up?
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm really excited to chat with you today. Thank you for being here. Neo is all about, he's calls himself the Law of Attraction Guru, which I love that title. And we're going to talk about all types of stuff, his personal story, of course, and who he is, and affirmations and manifestations, how to stay positive. Obviously, you can see his shirt, Thoughts Become Things. And that's something that I've talked about a lot and really believe in. Our intent, our beliefs, our words, our heart. You know, there's frequencies in the universe, and I really believe in all that stuff. What you put out is what you'll get back. And so I think this is going to be a perfect conversation for any time, but especially right now with all the craziness in the world. And I would love if you could just start by telling a little bit about who you are, your story, and how you got into the world of manifestation, spirituality, positivity, all those things.
Well, like I said, thank you for having me, and thank you everyone for listening. I don't consider myself a guru. That was something that was kind of thrown at me. It was a conversation someone was having in Michigan, and they were like, you know, Neo Positivity. And I'm like, yeah, that's the guy who throws Law of Attraction summits. And when that got back to me, I was like, wow, I'm in Florida. You know, they're having conversations about me in Michigan. I'm that guy who, and then the guru word came out. But I used to be a police officer in New Jersey, Camden City, New Jersey. At the time, it was the most dangerous city in America. And my partner told me about this movie called The Secret. He's like, he's a retired CIA agent. He's like, oh man, they make everybody watch this movie in the academy. You have to watch it. And it ended up being a secret, and I was obsessed. I wanted to know everything about it, everything, every YouTube video, everyone who knew about it. I wanted to pick their brain and see what they knew about it. And I noticed that everyone who knew about it was either rich or famous or both. And everyone in the houses and streets and businesses and companies around me are like, what? Or they'll say, it's about dating. No, it's not about dating. I was obsessed with it. I did everything I could, and I started to make my own little mental exercises because I figured about how the ego works and how it will mess with you sometimes, and it's not going anywhere. So I was like, all right, I have to change the way I see things. So I started coming up with my own exercises, and one really big one called the Watcher. I hope we get a chance to get into that. That was the big one. So 8 months later, I ended up retiring from the police department. And ever since then, I just been pointing at stuff and getting it using these formulas that I keep trying to perfect and make better. And I just been on a roll since, and been touring the country, teaching the world how I use it in hopes they'll be able to apply it to themselves somehow, So that was 13 years ago.
Wow. Okay. So you actually are, this is your career is traveling around and speaking and helping. And do you do like mentorship programs or one-on-one coaching? What kind of things do you offer?
Well, I got out of the one-on-one coaching.
Okay.
I want to help on a massive scale. Although I do still take, certain people who want that favor, I take care of them. I wouldn't call it a career because I'm quick to take 6 months off and I just start back up whenever I want. But that's it. I just tour the country right now. I'm doing a lot of work in the dental community because they have the highest suicide and depression rate of any profession. So one of my friends, Elijah Desmond, asked me, he said, dude, just come to our events and just touch everybody. Just bless them with whatever you got, even if it's just you walking around with that shirt on. And that has quickly led to, lining up speaking arrangements at different conferences and stuff like that. So it's been an amazing thing. I go where the universe guides me. And right now it has me with the dental profession and with police and firemen's, those type of organizations.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you for the work you're doing because any profession, any human can use love and help and service. But I think, in the last couple of years, especially, wow, like the service, the police officers and first responders and, everyone medical professionals, like really could use some extra love and care and excuse me. So that's really neat that you're able to, and also being like a former cop too, you have an understanding too. So I love that you're doing that. Thank you.
You know what? I want to say thank you to you too, because without people raising awareness to the law of attraction, and letting people know that it's not a dating thing, and that it does work for you 24/7, not just for your positive thoughts, 'cause that's what everyone says. I use the law of attraction, but not for the negative. So I don't know if I fully believe in it. Raising awareness is the number one thing. I always say this: the planet will evict us before it allows us humans to destroy it. It'll get rid of us. So the only opposition to the negative that we've been doing to this planet and experiencing on this planet is the positive and people being happier and getting what they want out of life. So we need numbers. That's why my summit is free, because the majority of the people on this earth can't afford $1,000 to go to a summit. So I try to make everything free. So the information's there, the website's free, everything, for awareness. So thank you and everyone else listening who even mentions this to their family members or friends. Share the love. It works.
It totally does. I agree. Yeah. I mean, we all hear something from somebody, right? You heard about The Secret. I've heard about it before, and manifesting, and then hearing how it works in people's lives. That helps people like understand it and believe in it. So, let's segue into that. What is it? I mean, great. It sounds cool. The Secret, law of attraction, people hear that, but like really, how do you start jiving into that world and believing things will happen and practicing and putting things out there? Like, how do you do it? Do you meditate? Do you just think it? Do you pray? All of the above?
I would do all of the above. You know what? I don't even think there's a real separation between the three you just said.
Totally.
But it comes down to seeing it like it's already happening and being appreciative for it ahead of time. For those who don't know much about it, I'll just give you the scientific, how I usually run it down for people. When you have a thought, it travels down your spine and releases, from your lower back as like a energy wave. And that energy wave then travels across the entire universe, not just Earth. It keeps going. And the third law of motion demands that every action has an opposite and equal reaction, which means the universe has to do whatever it has to do to you to make that thought travel back to you, which is the opposite, and be thought again, which is the equal reaction. So if you're thinking about pain, if you're thinking about lack, I don't like my job, my house sucks, my car is beat up, my kids are buttholes, whatever it is you're thinking out, you're basically manifesting a future where you're thinking about that again. So the way I use it is, if I want something, any type of goal, small, big, all I do is just ask myself, how would it feel to have already done that? Basically, in a nutshell. There's a different way I go about doing it, but in a nutshell, for anyone who wants to just get started with this and just try it now, just ask yourself, how would it feel if I had just got done that, completed that, it's done? And you should feel in a happier, more at calm space. And the best example I can give for this is, if you buy a lottery ticket and you want to win the lottery using the law of attraction, when you're reading the numbers on your ticket with the screen, you're comparing one at a time, and each one is its own little heartbreaking battle, as you go from number to number. No matter how confident, or even me using the law of attraction to my best ability, when I'm reading the numbers, there's still fear that one of them is going to be off. However, had I won yesterday, and I was just reading the numbers just to be sure, I already cashed a check, I just wanted to read it just to be sure, I would have a complete different feeling in my chest. There would be no doubt, no uncertainty. And so, that's what I like to use as a really big comparison for how you have to do things. So if you want to get started, just see it as though Mark 11:24 is a Bible quote. I'm not a real big Bible bashing type of guy. I'm not trying to push it on anybody. But for those who are heavily into the Bible and they see the law of attraction as maybe like hippie talk, Mark 11:24, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you already have it, and it will be yours. And if you know not into the Bible, I'm sure you've heard people say, see it before you do it. And that's it. There's a couple of things that are going to happen in between. You're going to be tested. There's going to be inspired action that needs to be taking place. There's 1,015 rules to this game. It's literally the hardest thing that you could do, but it yields the greatest reward that you can have, which is the ability to create your future. Definitely. Forever. And teach your kids and your friends about it so they can do the same. Well, there's no bigger or better gift than that. So it makes sense that it's the hardest thing a person can do. So I suggest you get started today.
I like it. Practice like anything else. And yeah, I think that's the thing. We're not always taught that in the society, to really believe in yourself and believe, I mean, we are, but not, if you know what I mean, like deeply believe that you deserve and you can get what you want, you can do what you want, obviously within realms. Like, we're being realistic here. I've used like examples before, like it requires, like you said, work too. You can't just like sit here and be like, I'm going to go on a jet tomorrow to like, the San Juan Islands. It's like, okay, set that goal on a mood board, in a prayer, whatever. Think about it in the shower. Imagine yourself there, but then also save your money. Start, figuring out how you can like book the trip. I mean, there's like work that has to be put into it, but like you said, putting out the vibes in the universe. I really believe the universe is supporting us, that it wants the best for us. And I really like that you like quoted the Bible. It doesn't really matter what you believe, whether it's Christianity, you're just like open spiritually, woo woo, whatever. It's all the same in my opinion. Like, it's energy, it's love, there's so much possibility. And so that was a good way of explaining it.
And neo-positive, funny, we were just talking about this yesterday on another podcast. Neo-positivity started off as the name of the philosophy. It wasn't me. It just kind of got thrown on me and I accepted it. But it was basically what I had done after I saw The Secret was I started picking apart, and I got a group of people to help me with this in New York, just going through religions one at a time, all of them. Everyone got assigned a religion. They were supposed to go through it and grab all the major things about it. And the number one thing they had to do was remove anything that couldn't be proven in the court of law today. If we went to court, could you prove it or not? No bias. I'm not trying to be a douchebag or anything, but just, if you think about it, just remove anything that can't be proven today and grasp the top principles. And all of them lined up, including atheists, with the law of attraction. All of them, every single top principle. And so I was like, well, I got my foundation right there. Let me work off of that. And then, like I said, I would study where people's minds were at a month or two before they popped, had their big come up, what they were thinking and how they responded to rejection. And that's when I really started to come up with all the juicy stuff. That and The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle and a couple other books really changed everything for me. And
one of my favorite books. It literally is like the start of my spiritual journey. So good.
Yes. As soon as I got done The Secret, I went online. I wanted to see what Oprah Winfrey was talking about it. And one thing she said was that it's just the icing on top of the cake. And I was like, ooh, there's a cake. Like, I thought this was it. And she said that there's a book that she highlighted so many lines in the first chapter that she just stopped highlighting, and she sleeps with it on her nightstand. It's called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. That's great. Immediately. I didn't even order it from Amazon. I went to Barnes and Noble and picked it up and began to change my life immediately.
Yeah. That and A New Earth. I've talked about those countless times on this podcast. I mean, just perfect. And I think, since he wrote those books, I don't even know when that was, over a decade ago for sure. More like probably 15, even, I don't know, plus years. I'm going to outdate myself. But a lot more of that language is being talked about now, A New Earth, Awakenings, Power of Being in the Moment, all that kind of stuff is a lot more accepted mainstream now. But if you have not read those books, highly, highly recommend. Life-changing. So thank you for mentioning that.
I mean, just A New Earth, I love it because it's like a Power of Now plus more.
Yeah.
So if you're going to read one book, just pick that one and go on Audible. If you sign up, it's free. And just in your spare time, put it on while you're driving, turn the radio off, put it on. Yep. You will get through this book relatively fast and you will change everything, because here's the thing about your thoughts. They're kind of on autopilot. So when you receive information, you kind of respond a certain way. This book is going to change the way you see things. So when the information hits you, you see it differently. You're giving off a different, remember I said it releases from your lower back, you're giving off a different energy wave with every single thought when you change the thought foundation. And that book is really great at doing that. And I've really focused a lot of my work over the last 13 years on being able to change people's thought foundations. Like I use fear because I get people to fear their negative thoughts, so they kind of wake up from them earlier than that. And, a lot of affirmations and just tweaking and twisting the way you view things. Your oneness with God will change the way you view things. Like if you view your neighbor as being one with you, you're going to treat them differently than if you view them as the douchebag that you always viewed them as for the last 20 years for whatever reason. And so it's like changing these little things, tweaking these little things are complete life changes, and they manifest a different world for you and the people that are closest to you.
Yeah, nicely said. I think, like I was just about to say, it's a similar thing. Like the ego, our thoughts oftentimes are our ego. Being conscious, and that's how I learned about ego, was in those books. And the ego death, I think a lot of that's actually happening right now with all the craziness going on and all this division and social media and like hate and over offensiveness and all this stuff that's going on. It's just chaos and noise and ego. And if you can be conscious to dropping the ego and just being heart-centered, like loving human. And I mean, it's harder said than done, but practice it and recognize when your ego's coming in. And, you know, if you think like a good thought about yourself, you're like, but nah, like I won't be able to go on that trip to the San Juans. Like I can't afford it, or I don't know if I'll be able to do it. That's your ego like shutting you down. So if you can be aware of your ego, that's a huge part of this too, that can lift you into, you know, all the possibilities of life.
There's a book called The Untethered Soul. I wish I had read it years ago. I just read it this year, or listened to it on audiobook. But it taught me to see because if you're observing the voice, you are the observer of said voice, which means you are not that voice. You're clearly separate. And so it kind of teaches you to see that voice like children just clamoring for your attention, like different ideas. Hey, what if we ran this scenario for the next half hour? What if you thought about this for the next 10 minutes? And you kind of latch on to them and you kind of like believe them and follow them. And what the book also does is it kind of like belittles that voice in a sense, because it's like when let's say you start dating somebody, you're just new to dating, and you call them and they don't answer the phone. That voice is like, what if they're mad at you? What if they found out this from your past? That voice is throwing all these crazy scenarios at you, and it's not even entertaining the fact that they could be in a shower. They could be in a meeting, which is likely. So it's like, that's the voice we're listening to. Right. Like it kind of does that to the voice and kind of makes you want to step away from it a little bit. And so I actually love that book for that. And you touched on something. I just want to say creating space is huge. If you tell yourself you cannot do it, it's not going to happen. I think of it as like, I live in like Forrest Gump house. Like I always think of that, like that land in the plot next door. I just purchased it. And that's where I'm going to put that thing at. And that's how you got to do it. I was telling myself, I'm too busy. I want a radio show, but I'm too busy for that. And that's where I learned this lesson. I wanted a radio show so bad, but I was too busy with my TV show for Comcast. And so it wasn't until I had a guest on my show, because I would interview coaches. That's all I've been doing for the last 13 years, like interviewing coaches extensively and sharing. So I interviewed this coach and she taught me about creating space. And that's when I kind of bought that plot next door in my mind. Went to City Hall, bought the plot next door, and that plot was just for radio shows. And the next day I got a radio show off. And I was doing radio shows for that. So when you say you can't do something, the universe is going to prove you right. You can't do it. It's not in your capability. It's not headed your way. But as soon as you open that up and make it a possibility, your mind will start to come up with ways that it could work. It could happen. And then your mind starts to come up with ways that are believable. Now you got to believe it. You're starting to believe in it. You got faith in it. And your expectations dictate what's going to happen to you next. So that faith turns to confidence, and your confidence turns into expectation. That's the rule of law of attraction. That's why I love affirmations. You can say the wildest thing out loud, and your brain will give you a way that it could happen. Aliens could come and just land, but as you say it, you start to believe in it more. Like, oh, wait, I found a scenario that could work. And then, you get a phone call. This really could work. See? And next thing you know, you're in that car in that house that you're currently in. That's how you got there. Yeah. So use that for your future to your advantage.
I agree. And it's cool too. It doesn't always happen the way you might originally think it's going to happen, but it still happens. So you might have thought it was a little different, and then doors close on you and you get all down, but those doors close because another one's going to open. Like I had something happen with a job where like I was working with a medium, and she was like, literally like, think out loud, like, or tell me, or think into your head right now, like, what do you want your salary to be? Literally like make up a number, be super specific in what you want. And so I thought about it. I had this dream job I was interviewing for. It was pretty prestigious. I made it through the interviewing process, and then I didn't get it. And I was like so bummed. And then 3 months later, I got another job. And now I know why I didn't get that other job. With the pandemic, I would have lost that job. I was able to keep this other job, work from home, have a baby. Like you know what I mean? Like the universe works in your favor, but I still believed I'd get the job. I still believed I'd get the job within that salary range. You know what I mean? Like it still happened. It just wasn't how I thought it might happen. But that's when you also just give your trust to the universe and kind of like things, like you said, you'll start getting like a call and you're like, whoa, like I didn't really realize, but yeah, this could like work. And again, it comes from like your heart and your positivity and your thoughts, but you also have to give some trust and realize things are going to kind of work in their own timing too. It may not be right when you thought you were going to get it, but it's going to come when you have that space and it's available for you. So you have to be patient sometimes. But yeah, I feel
I do this show on Fridays called LOA Today, Law of Attraction Today. You should come on because we were just talking about that intuition, trusting your intuition. You know, it's like a blind faith, and then you take that step forward. But you said a couple of things I wanted to touch on. A lot of people talk about being in a job that they don't want to be in and wanting to follow their dream and go to the next job, but they don't know whether to quit or not. And I'm like, you know, because quitting is going to make you feel like, you know, all kind of mental blocks are now up, finances, bills, all this other stuff. I just want to say this. You might be, and this has happened to me several times, you might be meant to stay in that job because you're going to meet somebody next month that's going to take you to your new job. So I wouldn't suggest quitting. I would suggest go to that job, and though you don't like it, do your best of your ability and enjoy your time there as the best you can and see what happens. We're talking about doors closing. I always say, no matter what you ask for in life, you will be shown, if not proven, that you cannot have it. Doors will close. And it's how you respond to that emotionally determines if and when you get it. So when the door closes, you act like a little, you give up on your dream, you're not going to get it. But when the door closes and you say, no, I refuse. I know I'm going to get this. I know this is my future. That's when your strength and emotion and determination pulls, magnetizes that future towards you. So recognize that.
Yeah.
It's huge to recognize when you get that door closed on you. It's huge for you to step out of the game of whatever your goal was and say, I see you, life. We're at the next step now. Now you've shown me we're at the next step. I couldn't get that lottery win without first having a ticket that said I lost. So getting that ticket that says I lost, guess what? That means we're at the next step. The next step is win after that. So there becomes an appreciation for these doors closing and how you get rid of those. The universe, God, whatever you believe created you and was creating life as we go, presented that problem to you. Hey, look at it. That's nice. Hand it back. Just that easy. But you know you're going to get through it. You got through all the rest of the problems. Hand it back.
Yeah, you got to let it go.
Let it go, and your phone will ring, and it will be solved on its own. I'm telling you.
Totally.
It might not be that simple every time, but if you expect it to be that simple, remember, expectations produce your outcomes. If you expect it to be that simple and quick and easy, it will be that simple, quick and easy. And if it's not, guess what? Roll with it.
Yep.
It'll get taken care of.
Totally. Timing might not be right, and then it could even be better. You know, a lot of us dating relationships in the past, like think of all the I was so upset, things didn't work out. And I'm like, oh my God, thank God it didn't work out. I didn't know, but the universe did. There's something else waiting for you. So
it's learning lessons. Everything's just learning lessons. Everything that happens is a big test. Can you stay positive in the face of the negative?
Yeah.
And you just gotta stay there and know. Relationships are tough, you know, because I did a lot of counseling in that area, but because they want to stay together. They don't want to start over. They don't want to go back to the dating scene in bars and meeting new people and then you know, germs and COVID. You know, I mean, nobody wants to start over, but that's no reason to stay.
Right. Because that's settling.
I get that all the time. My husband is super negative. No matter how much I try to get him to law of attraction and to be positive, he's still negative every day. He points out the negative and everything, but I don't want to leave him. Everything else is great. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell a person in that area.
Yeah.
It's really rough because that dark cloud sucks. I've never been with someone who had a dark cloud like that, or I've never stayed with someone who had a dark cloud like that over them. So I've never been in that situation, but surrounding yourself with the right people is basically giving yourself an accountability partner, someone to keep you mindful to be mindful and to wake up and do your mental exercises, do your morning affirmations, your affirmations through the afternoons, mental check-ins. Hey, what's your vibe been like today? Are you good? Do you need to switch it? What is it you want? Are you willing to become the person that you need to become to get there? What would it take to get you there? It's that kind of accountability partner that everyone needs to keep us on track. And not having that sucks. And having the opposite, that's got to be terrible.
Yeah.
What do you tell people in that situation?
I mean, it depends on the situation, but I think ultimately, like, it comes down to, you already know half the time. I've had a lot of friends, that have had some long-term, like, difficult relationships. I've had some, like, not toxic, just like, they weren't serving me. They weren't serving my friends. And, we all do that. You get passionate and you obviously dated someone for a reason. They're attractive, they're fun, whatever. But ultimately we know inside, after hindsight, like, I should have trusted my gut. I'm glad I went through it because I learned what I needed to. And then I ended up meeting my husband. Like, it all worked out. Again, it works out, but it was painful during it. But I think I always knew, and I just didn't listen to my gut. And I talk about this a lot on the show. We were given intuition for a reason. Listen to it. Trust yourself. You are your best advocate, and then the thoughts and the ego come in and, well, but he loves me so much and he wants to stay with me. That's not my desire, though. So I think we make it very complicated. It goes back to your intuition. Follow that. If something is not serving you, like you said earlier, you got to let it go. It's so hard, but
intuition involves a great deal of blind faith in the situation with a spouse. Coming where I worked at in Camden, of course, it was the most dangerous city in America. It also had a lot of domestic violence, and I would just watch these women get battered, bruised, and beaten, and they beat me to the police station to bail them out. Like, you beat me there. I'm in a cop car to bail them out. And it's just like intuition screaming at you at that point.
But I don't think we're, like, taught that a lot enough in the society of, like, we're taught to listen to everybody else, and you got what you need inside. You have to, like, tap into it. And that takes practice and time too. But that plays a lot with what we're talking about today, is like, believing you already have it, like, knowing you can have it. Again, you don't always know the details exactly how it's going to play out, but I knew I would find love, and I did. It took some time, but with the second I removed the doubt, I got it.
And you know what? The middleman, it's so funny. You're never right about the middleman. Yeah. You can assume 50 different ways sideways how you're going to get that job or that promotion. You're always going to be wrong about something, at least one little detail. Stop trying to play God. That's what I tell people. Stop trying to play God and determine. Leave that part up to God. You manifest the future. See yourself there. I'm there. It's done already. I don't need to want it. I'm not going for it next week. It's already mine. And then let the universe, God, whoever you believe in, take care of the rest. Because take it from me, I've just been wrong too many times. Yeah. It always works out in the end, but I'm always wrong about the middle. So I'm like, I ain't even worried about that anymore.
It's actually kind of fun, though, to kind of, like, watch it and you start recognizing, you're like, cool, like, I just lost this job. It happened to me, like, several years ago, and I, like, was a little bummed, but I'm like, something else is coming. Like, I just, like, knew it. You kind of get into that mindset. You're like, all good. I guess this wasn't for me anymore. So, I mean, it takes practice, but yeah.
Let me ask you this, because what you just said is so important. You said you just knew it. And for someone to get fired and just know that the next opportunity is coming, that's not normal. That's not something people are born with. It's not something most people are born with. Despite how positive they try to stay. Is that something where you always like that, or did something happen in your life that kind of led you to that?
I mean, I think I generally am pretty positive, just as is, but I'm also human and not perfect. I've done a lot of work, though. I read those books, Eckhart Tolle. I've, gone to, like, mediums and channelers. I've tapped into my intuition. There was the thing is, a lot of time when you look back, right, in an abusive relationship, in a bad relationship, in a job you weren't happy, I wasn't, like, fulfilled in that job for a long time. So I actually saw it as a blessing. It was the catalyst to get me moving. It was comfortable. I was making decent money. I wasn't like ready for it to end. I was just getting married that next summer, and I was like, oh shit, like money and all this stuff. And I'm like, it'll work out, we'll be fine. But it was the catalyst I needed. I think I recognized that I wasn't making the change, and so it pushed me out. That's a blessing. I needed to move out of that. So I think, again, look back at like, oh, I really wasn't that happy. So why would I be disappointed that I lost a job? Like, it was a helpful push. If you can look at it in a different way. So, I mean, I'm not like that with every situation, but again, like if you're in tune with your happiness, your goals, like you'll see it's a blessing sometimes.
Any two things that vibrate at the same frequency will naturally pull towards each other. And this desk's frequency only changes as far as age, aging, but as humans, we vibrate at whatever frequency we're thinking about. So when you're thinking about that goodness, that good future, you're pulling it toward you. I always try to get people to visualize like spreading a whole bunch of coins out on a table, flat, and like you're the middle coin, and that goal you just thought of is the outside coin. And every second that you're vibrating at its frequency, every second that you're appreciating it in your life, not it coming, or it will be here, because that just manifests a month later where you're saying it will be here, which means it ain't here. The more you appreciate it here, it kind of, that outside coin moves towards you. While it's moving towards you, all the other coins around it are sliding to the side just a little bit. Those are the phone calls, the conversations people are having about you that get you that job, that car, or whatever the situation is. So you hold tight and vibrate at that frequency as often as you can. However, the second you stop thinking about that, and you start to vibrate at the frequency of what is currently happening, because it's what's happening, it's kind of like now you're pulling more of what this house, this car, this job. Right. You're manifesting a future of that, which means that promotion, that whatever, it's kind of sliding back. You got to make sure you're spending as much headspace there as you can. That's an obsession of mine. It's 60 to 70,000 thoughts on average per day per person. It would be crazy trying to spend 30,001 at least of those positive. So, but if you change the way you see things, like I said, those autopiloted thoughts that are going on in the background while you're walking or driving or using the bathroom, you change the way you see things, those will run different scenarios. So now you got your mind watering the right seeds for you. I would like to picture life like a bunch of pots of flower pots, and I call every thought's a water drop. Like, and you're putting drops in all day. Things I like about my job, things I don't like about my job, my house, my spouse, my kids, that last Facebook post, all day long you're watering seeds. I suggest you water the right one, because that plant is going to grow. Where there once was nothing, it's going to be right in your face. And some of them are ugly. So be careful. Be very mindful.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good analogy. Yeah, and I think going back to like like I said, it's practice. It's not like everything that happens like that, I'm like, oh, it'll be perfect. But you know what I mean? Like, I feel like when, like you said, the more you kind of train your mind and practice, like it starts to come a little bit more natural. And we are human. You're allowed to have emotions and have disappointment, all those things. But I think if you can like catch it a little bit sooner and not let it consume you, because we create a lot of our own suffering. And once you actually, that was an Eckhart Tolle a lot too, with like illusions and anxiety. That helped me a lot with some of my like kind of like basic anxiety in life, just like realizing what's reality and illusion. That's super helpful too. Awareness and consciousness, right, to our emotions. But we can be so much more free if we just release so much of these thoughts that we have that are just so silly.
You know, what's funny? I've come to there's two sides to every coin. The moment is where you want to be. There is no future or past. You know this from Eckhart Tolle. Everything that's ever happened will happen to you in the current moment. And so I love the moment. It's where the base of all of my mental exercises is to first get present. However, on the same note, screw the present moment. All right, because for one, it just died. It's gone. And now we're at another one. For two, it's a result of some previous thoughts. And I'm always looking forward. So screw the current moment. It really means nothing to me, except for when I'm appreciating, life. Right. I am not hung up on what's happening right now, no matter how good or bad it is. Of course, I appreciate the good, but I'm more focused on spending my headspace in the right space, because I know that's what's putting food on the table. I know that's what's determining how much I smile tomorrow and next week. And to keep that trend, keep it going, it's great, because when stuff does happen in the moment, it's an easier way to release it. Instead of spending the next 20 minutes thinking about it by mistake.
Yeah.
Like, because I know people that are good, but they still find themselves in that rabbit hole. They spend the whole way home thinking about what their boss said to them that they didn't like.
Right.
Nobody's perfect. But to avoid those headspaces, it's just like you said, the brain's muscle has muscle memory. As you do it more, your brain will do it for you.
Yeah,
You'll get used to doing it.
Used to it.
And you get better at it.
Yeah.
And that's
ego
the best
right now,
part.
or is that, you know what I mean? Like you kind of start recognizing it and you're like, oh shoot, I got to keep myself in check here, but, and then having people in your life to help you do that too is gold. But, I'm trying to figure out how to,
set reminders. I don't know if the people who are listening to audio, I have a shirt. I always have a shirt on that says thoughts become things, but that's more or less to remind other people. I have a wristband that says thoughts become things, stay focused. Because when I was driving crazy, people cutting you off, you get upset. This is what made me think, all right, maybe I wasn't meant to be at that light that fast. That person might have just saved my life.
Yeah.
And I got these poker chips that I like, because I always liked using poker chips because it's a weird shape and it's not that big. So when you reach in your pocket and you feel it, all right, what's that? Oh yeah, that's my poker chip. And then you use that and you say like, thank you 10 times, or just say yes 10 times, or some kind of affirmation, some kind of goal you want, see yourself there. How would it feel? Say that 10 times. So all these different alarms, I got over 40 alarms on my phone. I got $1 million bills hung up all over my house. They're all for that. Yeah. They're all for that effort because I don't have an accountability partner.
Well, you're doing it.
But even if I had one, I would want these anyway because I want as many thoughts as I can going towards.
And there's different ways to do it, right? You can verbally say it, you can think it, you could put like something physical up. Like that's the whole point of like mood boards have become very popular, but I love it. Yeah.
This board behind me, look, there was one right there. I didn't even realize that was there. I was looking for it. It was right here yesterday. This is usually full, like on my summits, I write stuff on it, but this is like this wheel. This guy, Jeff Booski, gave me, and he says best next thing. So it's like, if you run a great scenario, you do that, that's here. And then you ask yourself, what's the best next thing? And not the next best, because the next best, is like second place. This is the best next thing. So this is, if you're imagining getting 40 grand here, just somewhere just gave it to you, this needs to be bigger than that. And then this needs to be bigger than that. And you go all the way around this wheel and you end up in a great headspace. You ordered some amazing seeds. It doesn't always have to be about money. You could switch it up from your health to your family, to a vacation, to a yacht, whatever it is. And you ordered some amazing seeds. You pulled that reality closer to you. And then you said something earlier, I forgot the key on the small things. That phone call, that little email, something that inches you in the direction of your passion, your goal, whatever it is you're shooting towards, you have to appreciate that. If you want $1 million and you try to manifest getting it for free and you walk outside and find $1 on the floor, guess what? That's the universe saying, hey, appreciate this and I'm gonna give you 10. Appreciate that and I'll give you 1,000. So you could take that dollar and appreciate it, or you can put it in your pocket and not think about it anymore.
Plus you're $1 closer to your $1 million. It just may not come at once, see?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But you got to key in on all the small victories, as many small victories as you can, because those are the little hints that you're on your way there, for one. And for two, that's the universe giving you the next step. Be thankful for this, and I'll 10x that. Now be thankful for that, and I will 10x that.
Totally.
Huge part of it is your expectations. If you expect to fail, you'll fail. If you expect manifesting to not work, the universe will prove to you that it doesn't work by making it not work, because it's still working anyway. So it's like, and one more thing, because it kills me when everybody says this. I don't know about the law of attraction. I think I'm going to start next week. That's not how it works, sweetie. This isn't like getting a gym membership. Right. You've been using it your entire life.
You just weren't aware. Yeah.
Yes, you just weren't aware of it. So you're using it now.
Totally.
If you ever want to know what you've been thinking, look around you. You are a result of your previous thoughts. That's an Einstein quote right there.
Yeah. I mean, similar, just like most of the time, you're nice to someone, they're nice to you back. Most of the time, not always. But energy, like it attracts, you know what I mean? You attract the type of people that you're around. And yeah, sometimes there's lessons and things like that can happen, but generally like what you put out is what you're going to get back. And I love what you said about the appreciation. That's been a huge part of my practice. The more grateful I am, I feel like the more abundance I have. And being so grateful, like the universe will respond more to you when you're grateful. Gratitude is like literally probably like my number one top thing right now in life, just it's my spiritual practice. And that doesn't mean like, oh, I got everything, I'm cush. Like it's like, no, any, you can be grateful for anything in pretty much almost any circumstance. You've got an illness. That could be your greatest teacher. Be grateful. You have someone helping you while you're sick. That's a blessing. Like there's always an opportunity to be grateful. You know what I mean? Like,
as long as you're alive.
Well, yeah.
Because we can all pass by a cemetery and probably point out someone that we know who not.
Right.
So and if you have to go back to that, There's plenty of reasons. Silver lining finding is an art. Mm-hmm. And I suggest you make yourself good at it.
Totally. Yeah. And I mean, like you said, yeah, of course, there's things that happen, people dying and like horrible things. I don't mean to just be like, oh, like hippie, like everything's all good. But COVID, right? It's horrible things have happened. It's also been an opportunity for us to reset what's important, staying at home more, like cooking healthier food, being more grateful for the health that you do have. There's many opportunities in hard times. And so finding the gratitude and practicing it, manifesting like I will be healthy. That's what I did this whole pandemic. We ended up getting Omicron a month ago. Luckily it was light for us. I feel very blessed that we were able to be fine with it. But the whole pandemic, I did not give into the fear. I will be healthy. I am unavailable for not being healthy. Now I still got it, but I was fine. I'm not saying that's always going to happen for everybody, but I didn't want to give into the fear. I knew that would be an invitation for it to come in. You know, people are, I'm always sick. I always get sick. Ooh,
yeah, I know a bunch of people like that.
So it's more like I'm unavailable for it. I'm completely healthy. I believe in my immune system now. I also take vitamins and do things to help myself. I'm not like in la la land, but it's just an example of like, if anything, do it for your mental health. You know
what else is an example of? If you have 2 ways to spend 2021, either to be running around talking about how you always get sick while there's a lingering coronavirus in the country, or do like Lauren did. Mm-hmm. She's ready to go. Like if you were in a softball game in high school, you don't go to the game with that upsetting fear or doubt. You know, you go in there with a uplifting, I got this mentality. And I would much rather spend my 2021 with that mentality than in a state of fear for the whole year because of what's going on around me pandemic wise,
right.
You know?
There's so many fears. There's always going to be fear. And obviously our society and media like propel it. It's out of control. So also like, you know, listen to yourself. What doesn't serve you, media and all that stuff. It doesn't serve me anymore. Like I don't watch that because it's literally like it's fear induced. I don't feel good. Make changes in your life. Listen to your intuition, right? Do things that support feeling healthy, your mental health. And I'll share an affirmation. And I want to ask you some of your affirmations that you say or things that you do for what we're talking about with COVID. I actually learned this from a medium of mine that's helped me so much in my spiritual growth. You literally envision your body in a white light bubble and you are protected. And the only thing that can get in is love and light. Now, I'm still a human and I'm here. I can still obviously get sick sometimes. Things can happen. But generally, that's my like protector when I start to feel anxious. Because that's all I can do is just surrender and I'm here. But I am protected in a white light. Only love and light can get in. That is all I accept. Only the highest good. Those are my affirmations that's really helped me like stay centered. I do it with my daughter. I will teach her as a comforting mechanism to do it as she ages. What are some affirmations that you do that have really helped you?
Well, I want to key in on the white bubble real quick. I do something similar, but it's a little bit different. Basically, like I picture a white aura around me. Yeah. And let's say someone thinks something negative about me. An energy wave leaves their body and travels across the entire universe, but it's more going to affect me because I'm the subject. So as that energy wave comes at me and hits the edge of my life, so let's picture it as red because it's negative. As it's coming at me, when it hits my aura, it immediately turns white, the color of the aura. And it's still coming at me, but I have a choice to let it turn back to red as it hits me or turn it to blue as it hits me. Like 50 Cent and Floyd Mayweather always say, I know 50 Cent says, I need my haters so I can use them for their energy. Accept that energy like money.
Yeah.
Take it like money. Because I call every moment we have, God gives us one energy dollar to spend on whatever we want. We can spend it on pain, drama, happiness. That person is spending their energy dollar on me.
Yeah.
And when it hits my aura, it turns white. I can accept it either way. And so I accept it as positivity. So that's how I personally get to those type of situations.
Yeah, that's really cool.
As far as affirmations, yes is my go-to. Just say yes 10 times. By the third time, you'll be smiling. By the fifth or sixth time, your brain will be throwing at you reasons to say yes. Yes. And that's just manifesting a future where you're celebrating something, saying yes again. Yeah. So that's what you want. Yes and thank you are the two generic ones that are like improve your life all around in multiple categories. Other than that, I'll go specifically for something. If I want 1 million followers, and I say I have 1 million followers and I don't, my ego's going to step in and say, no, you don't. Got to be careful with how you word these things. You want them to be in this moment, but you don't want it to be something the ego's going to completely shut down. Mind you, by the time you get to the 10th time, you're enjoying it. The ego has subsided by like 3 or 4. But what I like to do to strengthen that, instead of saying I have 1 million followers, I say I'd love 1 million followers. Yeah. I'd love to have 1 million followers. Accurate, true statements.
Because you would, right?
Yeah. So the ego has to step back and let me sit in that moment and let the subconscious honestly answer the question. Or like that's what I also ask: how would it feel to have 1 million followers? The subconscious has to answer that question. It would feel amazing. So now I'm watering that seed. Next thing you know, I go on my Facebook group and it's another 60 people that signed up. By the way, Neo Positivity Thoughts Become Things Summit has a Facebook group. Get in there, get updates on the summit, and get your daily dose of positivity. I also have a subscription. I have a newsletter I send out 5 days a week that has a different mental exercise on it.
Okay.
Like I deserve, like you say, I deserve as many times as you can today. I deserve that house. I deserve that car. I deserve the respect. I deserve, or I expect that house. I expect that car. Or like I said, how would it feel to? How would it feel to be retired? How would it feel to have 1 million viewers? How would it feel to have 1 million likes on all of my videos? Like whatever your situation is, these are the things that you're going to say to yourself throughout the day. And when you create an affirmation, you have to make sure every single word is right. Yeah. There's a knot in your chest. When you lie to yourself or feel bad, it kind of goes down. When you're smiling, it goes up. When you're laughing, it's way up here. If you say an affirmation like, whatever, I have $1 million, and that thing drops down, change something up. Yeah. Okay. And don't make your affirmations too long. Affirmations that are usually a sentence long, the ego's going to step in at some point in that sentence and crush it for you every time. Make them basically phrases as short as you can, but get your point across. If it's too long, I would consider it a mantra as opposed to an affirmation. Okay. And mantras are great. They're amazing. Use them. But affirmations are they're my silver bullet, man. Those are how I get stuff done. Because there's points in the days where if you're having a blah day and you're just not really ready to jump on top of the couch like Tom Cruise, no matter how much you try, it's kind of sometimes hard to, so affirmations are cool like that. Like I said, by the third time, you're usually smiling, and 5 or 6, your brain is now giving you beautiful visuals. Yeah. And that's what you want. So I love them all day, every day. Start off with them. I end off my day with them. And throughout the day, alarms, 40 alarms on my phone, more than 40 alarms on my phone, and everything, all these other little things you see hanging up.
Reminders, yeah. I like what you said about yes, because I was actually going to bring that up earlier. One of the relationship I was talking about earlier, it was the one before I met my husband. It ended. And I thought to myself, this is my time for yes. And I just started making commitments and saying yes. Now, listen to yourself and honor yourself. If something doesn't resonate or feel good, don't say yes to it. That's not what we're saying. But go out with friends. Maybe you're feeling a little bummed, but it could be, say yes, go out. You never know what could happen. I got a cat. I never had my own animal because I couldn't. I was at home. I wasn't always over at my boyfriend's. I said yes to a foster cat. Still have the cat today. Actually, he loves my husband more than me. But I got a new car. I paid for it by myself. It was the first car I paid for by myself. I said, yes, I'm doing this. I'm making commitments. Instead of being fear-based, I said, yes, I can do this. I'm going to do this. And then I met my husband. I'm not saying it always works out that perfect. I had my own struggles, but start saying yes. Go do things. Try new things. Like I don't know. It's amazing when you start doing it, you see how it works. And again, when I'm saying this stuff, I'm not trying to, oh, my life's all good. I've been through stuff. I still go through stuff, but say yes, believe in yourself, listen to your intuition, do your mantras. Like, it's possible. There's so much possibility in the universe for you. Like, anyone who's listening, you are worth it. You deserve it. Believe you deserve it. Appreciate it. Like, things will come, but you have to practice this mindset. It takes work, but
Yes.
I just want people to know, like, you can have it. You can have what you want. You can feel good. Like, it's possible for everyone.
I want everyone, please, to think about it like this. If you were to go into the gym, you got a gym membership, getting healthy, you go into the gym and you do 10 curls on your right arm, and then you walk out and go home, how much healthier will you be? And you can't say yes 10 times a day and expect to be a millionaire by Tuesday.
Yeah.
That's just not how it works. Mm-hmm. This requires a boatload of practice. Two things I wanted to touch on that you said. People kill me. They say, oh, Neil, I can't be like you. I can't have positive thoughts like you. I can't do it. There's too much stuff going on. I'm not retired like you. I got real world stuff to worry about. Listen, I still get the same thoughts I used to sometimes. Yeah. My brain just handles them different. Mm-hmm. So I don't have perfect thoughts. Neither does Lauren. We don't go 60,000 positive thoughts every day. No, it's just I've conditioned my brain to catch that thought before I even notice it's even started. So it can get rid of it. Mm-hmm. Stuff's going to happen. You're going to see things, car accidents, whatever the situation. So don't strive for this perfection. You are perfect the way you are. You're exactly the way you were meant to be today. Yeah. No regrets. And last thing, one of the biggest lessons I learned in 2021 that I'm taking into 2022, the strongest lesson is get out of your comfort zone. I'm the guy who lives in his comfort zone. I've been retired for the past 13 years. I don't have to leave the house if I don't want to. And a lot of times I don't. But everything's where it needs to be. I literally, like, I have the phone charger to my phone. Everywhere I would ever sit at in this house is a charger. You know, I got a bottle of water in every room because I'm obsessed with water. I like to have things perfect and smooth. So there's everything smooth, automated. And it was good for a long time. But when I got out of my comfort zone and did something uncomfortable, the waves that were at my back got stronger and thrusted me to a new world, a new life. Yeah. New things, all growing, all forms of life and areas all together, just growing and getting better. And so it's like every second you're out of your comfort zone, you're excelling as a person, and you get in your comfort zone and you stay there. Yeah. You're cool, a little stagnant, and get out of your comfort zone. It's like something happens. I don't know what it is, but it was such a great impact in 2021. Yeah. I am on it for 2022. And that's just what you were saying. Leaving your ex, getting out of your comfort zone, job situation, going to get a new car. If you're not used to that,
there's a risk. It's money.
On them payments,
totally. Saying yes, there's risks, right? There's always a risk, but also it's an investment in your life and yourself. And look at a lot of successful people. I mean, successful, they could have their own problems, but what you see as successful, what you may want, people took risks. They said yes. There's going to be crazy shit that happens along with that, but there's just so much good. And I'm like you too. I like comfort. I'm like a Virgo. Like, I like to be comfortable. I don't like to be uncomfortable. Something happens, I'm like, dude, this is not good. But change, and I avoid it. Sometimes I'm noticing that with like parenthood. I'm like, I got this going. And then I'm like, dang, I got to like change this now, or nap schedule. It's like, ooh, but ride the waves, go with the flow. You got it. Life, if you don't have change, how are you going to grow?
Growth is change. You cannot have growth without change.
And that's what's going on in this world right now. There's so much change.
Growth literally means you're changing from what you were into something better.
Totally.
How could you possibly have change without something change?
Yeah.
That's why I always tell people. My thing is this: most of my clients, when I was doing that in Tampa, they wanted $100,000 a year, and we would make it to 96. So it's cool. So for one, you gotta aim high so you can get just below. But here's the thing: if you made $100,000 this year and you want to make $200,000, no, if you made $100,000 this year and you want to make $120,000 this year, something has to change.
Right.
Or else you're gonna make 100. Now, if you make $100 this year and you want to make $200,000 next year, you might have to change everything.
Right.
It's a complete 100% increase. You might have to change a lot. Now that is getting out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
But you will be holding yourself back if you don't.
Right.
I operated out of that place of fear. I always wanted to make it and then buy my old house in Jersey and move to Florida. And it wasn't until I asked myself, what would happen if I moved to Florida and just bought the house back, gave them an offer they couldn't refuse, got it back, fixed it up. It would still be my old house because I love my old house. And then all the world just said, but it was like somebody cracked the safe open. And it has been a whirlwind of energy boosting since. It's been 2 years of pure, outside of COVID, it has just been amazing.
Yeah.
And COVID, it sucks. It's taken lives and stuff like that, but I thrived through it.
There's a lot of people that have
financially.
Yeah. And again, not to like downplay the horrible aspects of it, but I think again, we're so like programmed to just feel bad and fear. There's so many people, like I started the podcast during COVID. I don't know if I would have done it. I was at home. I could do it. It's like, there's so many people that have started some amazing things during COVID. Again, it forced us to change. There are blessings and silver linings within pain and growth. And I think it just goes back to like, what are you going to look at this? Are you going to look at this situation in fear, or are you going to look at a possibility? Thoughts become things.
Have you ever heard of Podfest?
I feel like I have. Yeah.
Go. The next one you should attend. That came 2 weeks after I started my podcast, Masters of the Law of Attraction. Podfest was presented to me, and my first reaction was, why would I go to a podcasting convention and be sitting next to a bunch of my competition? Like that. And I had never been to a convention before, and it was far away. Everything about this was out of my comfort zone, and going changed my life. 100%. The person that I met, Elijah Desmond there, he's the one that got me in the dental industry, and we're making all kind of music together. So that was really, 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 and from podcasting, even outside of Elijah, the people that I met in podcasting are now boosting and supporting the summits and everything that I'm doing because they love the law of attraction. So it's like getting out of my comfort zone in that situation, 100% beneficial. Insane.
I agree. And I know that's kind of, you'd always say there's other people doing what you're doing. There's a million other people that are doing podcasts. Why should I start one? YouTube. Again, I say this completely humbly. I don't even look at my numbers. I don't even really care. My husband's the one that like tells me we started it and my numbers are going up, my views are going up. And I'm just like, I feel that the universe is supporting me and I'm completely grateful. We have a lot of work to do, but if I wouldn't have just said yes and tried, look at the possibility. And all the people that I'm meeting, all these cool people, like this is truly a gift for not only hopefully people are learning things but I get to talk with people like you, like this is so cool. And you going to that Podfest, like that's another thing with the yes is go out, talk to people, meet new people. Like that's what keeps me like, fueled is just like helping one another, talking, what can I learn from this person, spreading joy, like supporting one another. Like that's what we need in this world. Like it's so healing. So if you're finding yourself in pain, that's what I've always felt when I've gone through like my sad times or telling other people, maybe stop focusing so much on yourself and just go out and try to help other people. You will find healing and growth. And so that's what I love about this is like, let's not think about competition. How can we help one another?
Yeah, we gotta raise each other up.
Yeah.
And you said something earlier about surrounding yourself with the right people. That is critical. Yeah. If you want to be a painter, I suggest you find some painters.
Yeah.
So they can maybe show you how to paint.
Sure.
Because if you want to be a painter and you're hanging around a bunch of cops and firemen, I'm not saying you're not going to have a great time, but you should probably be around some painters.
Yeah.
So if you want to be successful, find some successful people to be around, which you got to get out your house.
Yeah.
Go to some networking events, whatever it takes, whatever the universe is nudging you to do. We were talking about inspired action. When you ask for something, the universe is going to give you a little sign, and then it's going to tell you to do something. And then you're either going to say, I'm tired from work today, I'll do that tomorrow. Or you're going to make the choice to do it. Huge thing about choice is, we were talking about being present. And everyone, I encourage you to work on waking up as much as you can. You have to make the choice to do these things. The opportunities are going to present themselves. You're going to have to make the choice. And by mental exercises, making a choice, I mean, like when you're walking down the hallway and thinking about whatever, got to get milk, got to go to work tomorrow, what time I'm going to come home and do this. Every now and then you're going to wake up and you're going to be able to see the background. You're going to be in the current moment. While you're there, it is up to you to make the choice to do a mental exercise or go back into that rabbit hole you were going. When I go to the bathroom, if I reach for my phone, I literally slap my own hand and I say, no, I'm using this time for me.
That's good.
And I just get meditative, get mental. It's all about choice. It's all about choice. If you don't take that inspired action, you just kind of like postponed everything.
Right.
You'll get that sign again, that hint from the universe again. It might keep hinting at you every day.
Yep.
You might keep deciding not to do that inspired action because your inspired action might be to fly 1,000 miles away on a whim and meet somebody you didn't even think you were going to meet. Chances are that's what's probably going to happen if you're going for something big, especially if you don't live in like Florida or Texas or LA or New York, like where the big stuff is happening and that's what you're going for. You might have to go do those things. But while you're doing them, if you make that inspired action, hop on that plane and get off the plane and you're ready to go meet some people, but you have a negative mindset of, I don't know what to do next. I don't even know why I'm here. I wonder if this is even going to work out. I didn't spend $1,000 already. You're screwed.
Yeah.
You shouldn't even never win. You should never win. You got to be like, Lauren, it's got to be in your mind. I know what's going to happen next.
Like I already decided.
There's nothing that the world can do or show or say to me that would change that.
Right. Totally.
Not even give you a lottery ticket that has losing numbers. I won the lottery 13 times on Facebook. I only bought a couple tickets a month, but I wanted to specifically use law of attraction and show people how to win. 13 times in 1 year. And it comes with starts with holding a losing ticket in your hand and telling yourself you won. I won. Because Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, when you win, it's going to feel just like this. Not tomorrow. It's going to feel just like the current moment. My arms extended. There's a ticket in my hand. Except for in that moment, in that universe, whatever, I'm happier than now.
Yeah.
I can do that now by playing a little bit of make-believe. And there comes, you don't want to get me started about make-believe. I love talking about the make-believe land or imagination land, whatever you want to call it, because I own that shit, man. I do a big time. I know that's what creates here. And God could take my life right now, but he can't stop me from thinking about a red apple on a table. I have God-like power over there. And it just so happens that what happens over there is, what happened over there. So it's like, I take the imagination world to the next levels, to the max. And I suggest everybody get on that same page, because I wouldn't be here if I didn't have some wild behind dreams that I just kept thinking about with all confidence. And then followed the steps to get there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I mean, your story is very inspirational. Your message is perfect. Thank you for the work that you're doing and the light that you're spreading. And I don't know, I just want people, I say this to I'm saying this to myself as I'm saying it out. Like we deserve to be like supported and loved, and we deserve good health, and we deserve to be happy and to grow, and we have to support ourselves, and then we can also support others. So I thank you for the work you're doing. And it's changed my life. Manifesting, affirmations. Again, it's not all perfect all the time, but you do see a shift in your life when you start practicing this stuff.
And you know what it is? The best part about the law, because toys will come and go. Money will come and go. We can't take it with us when we leave. The best part about the law of attraction is I walk around happy.
Yeah.
Like, for no damn reason. Like, it's reasons.
It seems like, that's weird.
I'm just happy.
And and you're allowed to be happy. It doesn't have to be a thing or an event to make you happy. Like, you could just be happy. It's okay.
It's sad that most people don't get to experience that. Mm-hmm. And and that's the thing. I might have all kind of extravagant toys and cars and lifestyle or whatever, but like I said, I'm not happy about that. I'm just basically happy that I'm in control of my future. Right. I'm good.
Yeah.
No matter how broke you are, or no matter how many things you don't have, you can be happy for the same thing I'm extremely happy for. Right. The one thing that's making me walk around the house just happy all day, you have that too.
Yeah.
So you don't have to have the stuff I have to be happy.
And it can be whatever, man. Like, just sitting, I'm trying to do this more, right? Just like, instead of just like shoveling down my dinner, like, dang, like if you really start thinking, like, there were crops and people that grew these vegetables for me. And if you eat meat, an animal died that, it sacrificed its life so I could live. Like, if you start thinking this way, I don't do it every day. Trust me. It's just, I'm trying to be more aware of, like, you could just be so grateful for what you're eating and all the hands and people that made that possible for you to be alive. So yeah, it doesn't have to be a car, but it could be a car. It doesn't really matter what it is, just being grateful for what you have and what you will have. It could be anything.
You really touching on seeing things differently now, because now you hitting in my heart. I like to think about like if I was to give anybody listen, if I was to give you $1 million, you'd be very happy.
Yeah.
Now, if I was to turn around the next day and give $1 million to everybody else on the planet, would you be any less happy? No, you still have $1 million. So, like you were saying, I like to think about the police department and the military. I literally have my own police department. There's a whole police department full of people that are at my beckoning call. There's a whole military full of people that's job is to keep me safe. Yeah. This computer, there's a factory full of people who designed, put together. There was a mailing system that mailed it all for me.
Right.
And when you get into that beautiful mode, your ego might step up and say, yeah, well, they're at the store for everybody else too. Just like that $1 million. Doesn't matter. Everybody else got it. This was for me.
And to be truly grateful for that, it's like,
these are mind games you play. I didn't know you were this deep into it, Lauren. Me and you we're gonna have to do a live stream in my group. I want to see how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I'm trying. It's a practice. I mean, you could literally, like, the sunlight's coming in, and I'm like so happy right now. I'm like, I gotta get out there, get some vitamin D. Like, I have thought about this way for a long time, but I really think, like, COVID and stuff, it's just shifted me, and I've woken up to a lot of stuff, and we have what we need inside. The fear, getting the fear out, dude, and just going out there, soaking up the vitamin D, taking care of yourself, like believing in yourself. I'm not going to fall victim to like what other people are telling me to do. It changes your life. Gratitude, belief system. You know what I mean? Like, we have the power to be happy and feel loved. And you don't even have to be happy. You can feel sad. You can feel whatever you want to feel, but go inside.
Yeah.
And I haven't thought like this, I have thought this way a lot of my life. I mean, I'm thankful my parents have taught me some of this stuff, but it's a lifelong practice. And I've listened to tons of podcasts. I've gone to mediums. I've talked to people like you. This is a group effort. I'm thankful for everyone I've come in contact with, books. And I can't get enough of it. I'm in like this height of like spiritual, awakening and stuff, but it's still just terms. And it's going to keep going. I'm going to keep growing, but I just feel so like, I want people to know, like, I don't know. It's just, it's here.
You want them to feel what you feel.
Yeah. And when I feel down, like people like you or, if my husband, accountability or whatever, like, we are here to support each other and love one another. And like you said, if I found out you were giving other people $1 million, like, I should be happy, not jealous. I should be happy for the people that made my computer. I should be happy for all these things that I have. It's not even about the thing. It's like the fact that I have this ability to have a computer, to have experience, to talk to you. Like, it's about the way that you think. And I mean, again, like, I'll drive and someone cuts me off and I'm like, what the hell? But then I feel bad. I'm like, why did I, get mad? And so there's a constant opportunity to like you know what I mean? Remind yourself and not be impatient. I'm super impatient. I'm a freaking Virgo. Like, what do you know, but I'm going to work on that. And so it's awareness, it's consciousness. And, again, like, what are you thinking about this person, about yourself, about the situation? You have the ability to shift that. And then the universe and the energy, it's all energy. It's all energy exchange, right? Like you said, it goes out into the universe.
I like to give people a little visual, a picture like a 5 by 5 foot white cube, like a sponge cube, just floating in the sky, like, 10 feet off the ground, 20 feet in front of you. And that cube is, God, universe, whatever. And it's observing you all day long. It's observing you. I mean, think about it. When you're watching a movie, you're into that movie.
Yeah.
You're trying to see what's happening next. Everything else in life just kind of disappeared. You're vibrating at that movie's frequency. So this cube that's watching you all day is vibrating at your frequency because it's observing you. Now, because that is God universe, it's connected like strings to everything that exists. And everything that exists has its own vibrating frequency. But since that cube is now vibrating at you, it slowly starts to shift everything around it to begin to match what you're vibrating at.
Yeah.
And I try to give people that visual so that when they catch themselves in a negative headspace, they think about that cube and what it's doing to everything around them, and they change it. Use that. Please use that, and use anything else you can. Books. I do poker chip. Before I had poker chips, I would put a pebble in my pocket. Whatever you got to do, the more time you spend in that headspace, the better.
Yeah, you'll start seeing shifting. And, we can say all this stuff, and until you practice it, you'll start seeing your own stuff that makes you like, oh, dang, like this is real. But ask for signs if you believe in that stuff. Like I believe in spirit guides and guardian angels, and I'll ask for signs. I'll see synchronicities, and I'm like, okay, that's too loud to not listen to, right? And some people, that's just like another dime. It's like, dude, I've been seeing dimes. I've been seeing 1111. I've been seeing this like over and over. I keep seeing this hummingbird the 1 second I look out. Like, pay attention to these things. These are the universe's way of, communicating with you. You start seeing stuff and you're just like, this is crazy. Like there's more than we can even like see or understand sometimes. It's really cool.
This is what you're talking about. I like to think of as, remember I said like the small little things that'll get you that dollar amount and appreciate them. These are the small little things in manifesting that make you a better at manifesting. Yeah. I consider each little click, beep, stuff that goes on in the background. To me, that's a wake up call. Oh, let me do a mental exercise, and I'm getting better at making the choice to do it on key. Right. As opposed to, I'll do it as soon as I'm done this email and then I forget and never get around to it. So that's an opportunity right there. Those coincidences. I don't believe in coincidence. I always see 42. That's why it's tattooed on my arm. I always see it everywhere. But when I see it, I'm like, yeah, I'm more confident in my ability to manifest. You know what I mean? And so I'm taking advantage of that, just like finding a dollar and being appreciative that you can manifest that. Yeah. Be appreciative that you can manifest anything.
Definitely.
Yeah. Key in on these little beeps and beep. And
there's little things happening all the time. Like you said, you got cut off and then you missed a light. Maybe you were supposed to. I read a book. I can't remember what book it was, a long time ago. And there was a car accident. Instead of being pissed off that you're now in traffic, direct your thoughts toward the person, like pray for them, everyone that's involved, but also realize like you were supposed to be stopped for a reason. Or I had a girl on my podcast last week. She found this book. She was from New York. The book talked about going to Sedona, Arizona. She was called to move to Sedona. She was going to go fly to Sedona. She was intrigued. She got a flat tire on the way to the airport. So she missed her flight, stayed in a hotel. She read the whole book that night. And then she moved to Sedona. And I'm like, she was supposed to miss that flight because otherwise she may not have read that book and needed what she needed to know before she went to Sedona. Yeah. And now she's lived there with her husband. And it's just like, there's just too many. She's from New York. The book author is from New York, moved to Sedona. This is a universe. And after her father died, she found the book on a bench outside. To me, that's God. That's the universe. How could have that just been so perfect? I'm sorry, you can't. To me, oh, that was a coincidence. Like, how many times do you want to say things are coincidence? This is a sign. And if you listen to it, you will see things start to really shift. It's incredible. I love stories like that because it was there for her at that moment. She needed that.
Divine. That's divinity right
That's
there.
divinity. That's like divine energy. Like, it's all around us all the time, though. It's just, are you aware of it?
Now, how many people pass right by that book?
I know. But it was meant for her. It was there for
You know
her.
what I mean? No, I mean, like in your life, not your life, but everybody listening, how many books have you passed by?
Right. Yeah.
You know, I ask myself that all the time.
Yeah.
You know what gets me about my intuition? I'm always taking a lot of stuff with me everywhere I go. And my intuition will be like, bring that. And I'll be like, I'm not going to need that. Every time I end up in a crazy situation where I need that, I'm like, yo. And so I'm to the point right now where if my intuition is like, grab that, and that, I'm like, all right.
Just listen to yourself.
And I end up needing it. That is my constant reminder. It just happened to me yesterday because I actually didn't listen to it and ended up cold.
Yeah. Well.
I wanted to bring an extra shirt and I ended up all cold. But yeah, it's all divine synchronicity. I guess you could just describe it like that. Yeah, everything. Absolutely. And when you're tapped in, you're tapped in. And when you're not, you're not. And there's so many people that are using this and don't know they're tapped. Yeah. I know CEOs that have never heard of the law, $1 million CEOs in Tampa that have never heard of the law of attraction. They're working off of pure confidence.
Right.
Pure confidence, which is obviously possible. Yeah. Plenty of millionaires and billionaires are doing it. But for one, you can get there smoother and swifter once you know the rules and all the ins and outs that we're talking about. And for two, every single millionaire I just mentioned has shitty relationships with his family, or there's something else
other
in
areas
their
in their life. Yeah.
Yes.
Or maybe they're not grateful for it and they want to make the next million and they're not even enjoying the one that they made last week. Yeah.
So they're only doing good in the one specific area that they're extremely confident in, and not knowing how to use the law of attraction to boost up their health, to boost up their happiness, to strengthen the relationship with, or even have friends. Yeah. So you don't want to take the just confidence route. You want to know every nut and bolt in the car. That way, if it breaks down, you know how to fix it. Yeah. That's it.
Totally. And if not, because I don't, I'll be manifesting a tow truck to come help me. See, there's always a way.
Always a way. Always a way.
Yes.
But, shows like this and, my website is a host of information. I've interviewed hundreds of life coaches and law of attraction enthusiasts over the years. And in the last year, I started doing the summit where I would interview groups at a time because me and you are going to share ideas. I call it like a beautiful tennis match. We're going to share ideas. And every now and then the balls will collide in the middle and birth a third idea, a better idea, something another one of us has thought of, something we're going to try as soon as we hang up. And it's going to get us something beautiful and we're going to teach it to our kids. And it's like, imagine a whole group full of people all shooting ideas at each other. Yeah. You're going to birth so much more. And so that's what the summit is. And what I try to do with my life is make it so that you don't have to research people constantly and interview people for 13 years constantly. I try to put it all out as easy as I can get it for everybody. And so that's what I try to do with the website, neopositivity.com. Anything you got is a video. I say there's a video for every topic because people just send me questions and I'll just do a video and answer them over the last 10 years. So there literally is a video for every topic and it cuts through the middleman, cuts through the BS, a lot of books. The Science of Getting Rich was an amazing book, but honestly, he said thoughts become things 95,000 different ways in the first 11 chapters. It didn't really get good until 11 through 15 or whatever. An amazing book. The secret was written off of that book, but he repeated himself for a day's worth of audiobook. Cut through that. Yeah. So if it's not me, someone else, find ways to cut through it. The BS and get the stuff that works, get the stuff you need, get the stuff to change your mentality. Everybody's going to tell you to be positive. That's not good enough. You need to know how, what to do, when your mind says no, when your mind says you can't, when it just keeps beating you in the brain all day. That's what we need. Yeah. So find those sources of information, tackle them head on and use them every day. This isn't like a black belt.
This is a repetitive thing. I mean, it's a lifelong practice. It can get easier. So
people think enlightenment is like a black belt. where you get it, it's yours forever. No, enlightenment is like a thought process.
Yeah.
It's there while you're thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And law of attraction is like jogging. If you take off for a month, you're going to suck at it. You need to jog more often every day, the better you'll get at it. Right. So learn these principles and adopt them, and you will change everything, and you'll never want to go back. That's my whole thing. I'll never go back to my old way of thinking.
No.
Never.
Yeah.
Nah.
These are very, life-changing tools. Nicely said. I was going to, I think we could probably keep talking, but I think I feel like this is like a good episode. We'll either have to do a part 2, or maybe I'll have to collaborate with you on some of your stuff. But, you mentioned your website, but please say it again. And I'm also going to put it in the description of the notes so people can find you. So let us know where we can find you. Are you on social media as well?
Yes. Neopositivity.com is the website. From there, you will find the Summit's landing page, which is Neo's LOASummit.com. And it's just Neo Positivity on Facebook and Instagram and everywhere. I try to make it real simple, and everything is free. All the information is free. The summit's free. Everything is free. Unless you want me to come to your house and speak to you, obviously, on my day. But everything as far as information that I gain from the universe, meditating, that's helping the world, it's absolutely free. You got no excuse. Join the group and then share it with everyone you love. Yeah. This isn't like a used car dealership where I'm trying to sell something. It's all free. Just information that will change people's lives. So neopositivity.com would be the best and easiest source to get everything you need. Awesome. Wow. Well, thank you. What a awesome conversation. I feel better just talking about feeling better. Yes. I always come away from talking about the law of attraction, especially happy. But when I get to bounce back and forth with someone else who works on up here as opposed to just reading books, it's a special treat. So thank you for everything you do. I consider you and I a soldier in the war on negativity. So thank you for fighting a good fight with me. Oh yeah, thank you. We gotta band together, and I do think light is stronger than dark, but it's a process. So I appreciate you. I appreciate your work. We'll link everything, and you guys, in closing, keep up the good work. You deserve so much happiness and love, health, and start manifesting that shit. That's what I say. Manifest that shit. It's possible. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. You can find me on Instagram at Lauren.live and on my website, Lauren.live. Cheers.